Welcome back guys to another GTA video, and in today's one we are finishing off the elite challenges for the original heist, and this one is the Pacific Standard job. Now this one was epic. It took some time for us to get this one completed, but we got there eventually. So just highlighting all the things we shouldn't be doing.
Was that sod used crashing?
And first up is getting to the bank cleanly. You do have a time limit of 10 minutes and 15 seconds for this, so if you do crash on the way to the bank it is best to reset. And we did take a couple of attempts before we actually managed to get this one down, and it was mainly myself getting off this hillside. That was the issue at this point, but I think this was the last one. After this I did actually manage to negotiate that hillside every time after that. The second requirement of the elite challenge is for noose not to be called, and the only way that noose gets called is if you shoot any of the hostages in the bank. So after that accidental discharge there by Roughwood, we had to reset once again. And then the next thing that you do need to make sure that you do is hit the yellow dots on the road to the bikes.
No, you need to take it.
And that goes for every member. As you can see, Roughwood just missed one of the yellow dots, so had to run back and hit the yellow dot, but by that point it was too late.
Let me restart.
The next thing that you do need to be mindful of is, just in general gameplay, is your RPG usage. As you can see here, Dimple shot basically into the wall and took herself out. I then did the same thing here, missed my first shot and then fired my second shot right into Roughwood's head, taking myself out. So do be careful with RPGs. And it is also very important just to keep an eye on that health bar as well. As you can see, mine went down rather quickly there. But once you've negotiated those first two sections of the heist, the final part is the bike ride all the way to the boats. Now, it's not imperative that you don't crash, but if you do have one crash, it is worthwhile continuing on. But it was on this bike ride that we met our match. No matter how much we tried, we couldn't get all four members of the heist team to the boats without one of us taking some sort of damage or being delayed too much by the cops. Here you can see two of us making it and other two further back on the canyon road, but we were out of time at this point. And we quickly realised that all four of us going along that canyon road was just not a viable strategy due to the number of cops. As soon as the first person got on that road, the road would just fill with police. So by the time two of us or even three of us got far enough along the road, it was too late for the other one.
9.5 minutes and 2 years to the boat.
So it was at this point we started looking at other methods of getting to the boat. Firstly with going onto the train tracks and then dropping down at this point onto the road, but even that didn't help. We then looked at taking alternate routes up the mountains and taking the jump, but once again the cops were just all over us on the road and we all couldn't make it up to the jump. So we were looking at alternate jumps as well, and we found this one here, but unfortunately, even though someone had already died,
I died for that jump anyway.
and it was quickly becoming apparent getting all four of us to the same point on the road or at the boat was becoming extremely difficult, so we looked back at using the helicopter escape. But unfortunately we tried this a few times. I couldn't get the helicopter to spawn in straight away. It would spawn in after a few minutes, but by that point it was far too late. We only actually finished 2 runs in total, coming in at 11 minutes and 15 and then again at 10 minutes and 48 seconds before we actually got this run here. This was in fact our very first attempt using this method, and it was an idea that was actually mentioned by one of my subscribers while we were helping him out with Lamar contact missions. So a huge shout out and thanks to Kindbuds for the suggestion. It did work. So starting things off, you will need one of the apartments on the North Conquer Avenue, and you will also need a Hakuchu drag or a very fast bike to get you to the bank at the start. Now you don't want to get off the bike at the first marker, drive straight to the second marker, and this is where I had a slight issue. There was a bit of a bug. Now it did happen in one of our previous heists, but as you'll see here, my screen actually froze up. And this actually kind of set the scene for the rest of the heist with it being slightly buggy and glitchy, but it did in fact unfreeze eventually. And when it did unfreeze, I got to see the rest of the cutscene, but the other 3 members of the team were actually already inside the main part of the bank and getting on with their jobs. So it appeared that it was only myself that actually got that frozen screen glitch, and the others were actually just carrying on as normal, so it didn't really affect the timing of things. But once you're inside the bank here, Demolitions is getting to that door as quickly as possible to start the process of unlocking it. You want 1 person on intimidation, and as you can see, I've got my RPG out here and ready to take out any of the guards that are coming down the stairs. But in the meantime, I am changing the sprint mode to hold to sprint. Ideally I should have had that set prior to starting the heist, but I'm doing it now, and that quite simply means I just need to hold X when I'm running from the bank. Now as you can see, pointing the RPG up in the corner, and that's where you want to be hitting if any of the guards come out in the corner.
Just watch the intimidation
now
level
as you'll see here in the top right, this is from a previous heist, but this is what you want to be doing when you're inside the lower level. Demolitions concentrates on taking out those 2 guards. Meantime, Hacker is straight down the stairs, ignoring the guards and running to the terminal to begin the hack as quickly as possible. In the meantime, whoever's got the RPG is keeping an eye on the minimap for any of the guards that are running out into that top left area of the minimap, and as soon as they see the guards coming into that area, they are firing an RPG to take them out. And as you can see back up on the main floor, another little bug that happened was that there was only one of the hostages actually lay down on the floor in fear. But back downstairs, Hacker has completed the hack, and Demolitions is going in to take out and open up that final door. Now in terms of timing, once that door clicks open, you should be round about 3-minute marker in total. But don't get too worried if the door doesn't actually click open until 3 minutes 5 or 3 minutes 10 seconds, that is absolutely fine. But once it does open, you want to get inside to the main vault as quickly as possible and start collecting all that cash as quickly as possible. Back up on the main floor, the guy with the RPG is keeping an eye on the minimap and taking out any of the guards once again that will spawn in at the top corner there. And one thing just to remember is that whoever is firing the RPG inside will take a little bit of damage to their armour, so just to make sure that before they leave the bank it is fully recharged. And as you can see here, I'm just having a wee quick check on my EMP launcher to make sure there's enough ammo in it as well, and that will come later in the heist. But downstairs has now cleared out all the cash, and they're making their way up to the yellow marker, and it's at this point you can go to the door as well. And another little timing check for you is once everyone reaches the door, it is generally around about the 4-minute marker. But once again, don't be too overly concerned if it does plus or minus 5 or 10 seconds. That is still okay. Now on the next part, when you're leaving the bank, it is vitally important that everyone runs to the left straight away. You need to ignore the cops that are right outside the bank. The only ones that you need to take out are these 2 cop cars to the left. Now because you've ignored those cops that were right outside the bank, you will take some damage, so do keep a close eye on your health and top it up as necessary. But once you're down in the alleyway, once again ignoring the cops and taking a right into this car park here, you're then going over the wall, and there may occasionally be one cop right in front of you there that you do want to take out. Now the yellow markers start at this point, so make sure that you hit and take away each of the yellow markers that you're aiming for. And it's round about now that my confusion sort of played into it, with this being the first time that we've tried this method. I forgot that we do need to reach the bikes, and I was trying to take down one of the helicopters with the EMP launcher at this point, which you shouldn't really be doing. you do want to be trying to get to one of those bikes as fast as possible. Luckily enough, my brain kicked back into gear before I was actually taken out, my health going all the way down to the red, and we are heading it along to the bikes. Now, launching one of those EMP launchers towards the helicopters, I'm not sure whether it actually helped us or not, possibly did, but only 2 of the helicopters followed us over to the bikes. I also noticed at this point I had no armour left, so I quickly took one of these armours. And it is normally at this point, once you've got the bikes, you do want to be looking at taking the helicopters out in this area with the EMP launcher. However, I noticed that there was a lot of cops at this area, and there was one helicopter by itself on this road that we had ran through. Now, I'm not sure if this is one of the helicopters that I actually damaged with the EMP, that's why it failed to come over, but it certainly seemed easier to take down at this point. So, out with the EMP launcher. It won't actually come down with one hit, so you do need to keep hitting it with the EMP launcher, and once it's on the ground you need to try and get it without being taken out by the tail rotor or the main propeller. I've got it, I've got it, I've got it. Keep me covered. I've got no ammo, no armour. I've got the helicopter. Now you may have seen Dimples there run off the bike, and what I thought was actually getting the helicopter.
Oh, I thought you were in. Oh, Jesus. Right, I've got it under control.
So it is rather unsurprisingly at this point where the panic and the anxiety starts to go up a notch.
Oh, shit.
And you can actually even hear the beeping of the helicopter cutting out. But we do manage to get it up in the air and then clear of the buildings, and it's at this point I'm just thinking keep it moving forward and get it up as high as I can.
7 minutes 20.
And it's at that point there when I looked down and saw the 7 minutes and 20 on the timer, I kind of realised we've got just under 3 minutes to get the helicopter to the boat, but with the amount of cutting out that's happening, I was beginning to think what happens if we need to land early.
I've got no bloody body armour.
And it's at this point I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that this helicopter isn't going to make it with the amount of cutting out that's happening, and I'm just thinking about, okay, how do we get here without me dying? We have made it over the Vinewood Hills, and all I'm thinking is at least get me to that next mountain.
8 minutes.
So with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left on the timer, I'm just thinking now get up as high as I can.
We're up high enough, so I'll be able to get round the mountain if it conks out.
And the other guy's also asking what do we do if it conks out.
We'll try and keep it high so if it conks out we can just jump. But we're 8.5 minutes now, plenty of time.
So starting to get a little bit more hopeful now we've cleared that mountain.
8.5.
So 1 minute and 45 seconds left to get our backsides into that boat.
We'll land on the road next to the boat.
Now the timer for this heist doesn't finish when you hit the yellow marker, it actually finishes when all 4 members are inside the boat and sitting down.
Just watch the tail rotor. Go, go, go.
And as if the game hadn't given us enough glitches or panic and anxiety, it just decided to throw in a little bit more here.
Oh, let me in, let me in, let me in, let me in. Let me in! Get me in! 9 minutes 20. Yes!
And I think it is fair to say that there was a large sigh of relief by the time we all got our backsides into that boat and away. And the final time that I had was just over 9 minutes and 20. I left the timer going anyway, but the only thing left to do was get through these final cutscenes and make sure that Rockstar had actually recorded the correct time, given the number of bugs and glitches that we did actually have during that heist itself.
Oh, my friends! We did it! Well, you did it. Okay, the money. Here, and here, and here, and here. Okay, you better take off and take care, okay? Bye-bye.
And so here we are, moment of truth time, and we actually completed it in a time of 9 minutes and 21 seconds. Obviously no noose were actually called, and thankfully no one actually got wasted. So that is it, all 5 original heists elite challenges have been completed. And once again, thanks very much to KingBuds for suggesting the EMP method. But coming out after finishing that, we do get a notification through that we have completed that for the tier 4 career progress, as well as getting a couple of T's unlocked for completing all elite challenges on the original heist. But jumping into the career progress just to confirm, and there it is, ticked off, and all 5 have been ticked off as well. So that just leaves a mere 46 million to collect in proceeds from all the heists. And a massive thanks and a huge shout out to the rest of the team, who without them I couldn't have completed any of these challenges. So thank you very much to Dimples, Nick and Roughwood. But there you have it from me for today, guys. If you did enjoy the video or did find it useful, do leave a like, and if you are new here, why not consider subscribing. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.